Well, certainly lots of hype and activity around the sale of tickets for the FIFA World Cup, and it all getting started yesterday, but many are still ticketless and frustrated by the technical glitches that occurred in the early hours of yesterday that dampened their chances of getting their hands on passes to various matches. Joining us now in studio is Derek Carstens, FNB Brand Director, to run us through preparations ahead of kickoff, which is now just 55 days away. Derek, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. Well, as I was saying, lots of hype and activity, but let's take a step back here. I mean, there were a lot of frustrated fans out there yesterday. What exactly happened there in terms of the technical problems?
Look, I think before I start on that, I think what's great about yesterday is yet again we proved the naysayers wrong. Yeah, all these people saying we're not going to sell our tickets, the international people saying there's no demand. My goodness, the South African public yesterday covered themselves in glory, and it's wonderful, and I want to thank them first of all because it was fantastic. Obviously, we all regret what happened in terms of the software, which just couldn't cope with the demand, frankly. I mean, what happened was the first couple of hours, the system just couldn't handle it because our fans were so vociferous in their support, which was great. So then we found that things started to shift in the afternoon. For example, at FNB, you know, FNB, we've now sold something like 65,000 tickets have been sold through FNB out of 103,000. We've just got the latest figures. We've sold 103,000 tickets. So the thing is moving on now. I mean, yesterday at one point at FNB, we were selling 13,000 tickets an hour. Yeah. Can you imagine if the system had been working the entire day, we would have sold more than 100,000. I think we could have almost sold out yesterday.
Yeah. A lot of people, though, were frustrated and at the end of the day saying that FNB stands as that frontline brand. They don't want to hear excuses.
No, I understand that. And that's why I say nobody's looking to apportion blame here, but the fact is we do rely on the software which is supplied by Match, who are the official ticketing agents. But, you know, let's get beyond that. I mean, you know, we apologize unreservedly and so on, and I think the system just couldn't handle it. We know that, but now we move on.
So as a whole, what do you see this doing for the FNB brand? I mean, how much mileage do you see this giving the brand, the association with the FIFA World Cup?
Well, you must just see some of the remarks we've been getting from people. You know what was great in the branches yesterday was how our staff, we always say we're the helpful bank. Now, clearly we know we had challenges, but some of the remarks we've been getting from clients, how our staff, they had parties in the branches, the guys were serving coffee, they were serving. So I got an email today from somebody who was just so complimentary. Not all of them are, obviously, because they were disappointed. But I think people now have got a bit of perspective on the matter, and I think there is an appreciation for the fact that FNB yesterday, in fact, yesterday FNB accounted for 90% of the total sales of the tickets. So I think there's an appreciation for that. And
moving forward then, are all the problems solved? Is it all systems go? Or are there still risks to something like yesterday's, happening again?
On the ticketing front, all systems are go. I think there's still a little bit slow at the ticket centre, not the FNB branch, at the ticket centre in Polokwane, we gather. It's a little bit slow there. But the latest reports are for the rest, everything is going well. The online thing is going well. Overnight, we sold 22,000 tickets online. So the online system seems to be up and running well now at last, so that's good. So I think we're up and running well now. We haven't really had any reports.
Well, clearly, Derek, very optimistic there. How are you rating preparations ahead of the kickoff event, and how equipped are we to be dealing with this event?
Look, I think, you know, we've been through, we're right into the very operational phase of the event now. It's no more talking of the grand plans. So now we're into looking at the specifics. So, for example, around 50 days, something that we'll be focusing on is transport. Now, not transport in a macro sense, transport about how do I go from city A to city B? What are my options? What are my costs? I personally am pushing train, rail a lot. For me, the best way to get around the country is by train. If you want to go and watch a game at Soccer City, get on the train at Joburg Central, get off at Nasrec Station, and you walk to the stadium. You want to go to Loftus, get on the train in Joburg, go to Loftus, get out at the station, you walk. So we'll be focusing a lot on trains. So 50 days, President Zuma will be having a major transport briefing at Tambo. And then we'll be following that up with the media contingent. We're going to Kimberley for the 50-day celebrations. And we'll be briefing the media with PRASA, who's obviously one of the sponsors, on transport. So that, for example, we're getting into the nitty-gritty now of the how.
All of these operational considerations to be made in the face of what kind of expectation with regards to visitors coming into the country? We've had figures of, what, 500,000 being bandied about in terms of visitors in total. What are you expecting?
I think the numbers have come off a little bit. I think the considered wisdom right now is that we're maybe more around the 300,000 mark and so on, which I think is a direct reflection of the meltdown that happened internationally. So we've seen the corporate markets being a bit slow, and because we all know those days of the big corporate parties and high entertainment, those are all gone. But the good news is all those tickets have come back into the system. So I think we're now going to have a very well locally supported event, together with a healthy dose of international tourism, to be sure. But it's going to be one of the most local of all the World Cups, which is great because we deserve it, our people deserve it.
Part of that foreign group that's set to or expected to come into the country. We've heard rumours that Brazil could well be coming through to shop for expertise here, as they're of course hosting the next World Cup. What knock-on impact are you anticipating for companies that are involved in this event?
I think, look, just from the point of view of the tourism for a second, what's also nice about the international tourists is we've opened up new markets. So the Americans are the second biggest buyers of tickets right now, and they've traditionally not been a big tourist market for us. And of course, the South American market hasn't been big either. They're coming in their droves. So I think we've opened up new markets, which is good. On to the companies. I mean, just take, for example, if you're in the building construction industry right now, and are you sitting in Brazil, and you've got to build 12 stadiums, who are you going to phone? You're going to phone our guys, because they've just built the best stadiums built, the most energy efficient stadiums ever built, cost efficiently, on time, pretty much on budget. So I think we've got wonderful expertise to export in terms of, for example, construction and communications.